Chosen one, why do the wicked prosper while you suffer? Why do those who stole from you sleep peacefully while you lie awake counting losses? Why does it feel like heaven itself has gone silent on your case? Heaven has been quiet long enough, but today, the gavel has fallen. Listen carefully, chosen one. What I'm about to tell you will shatter every lie you've believed about your situation. You've been sitting in the courtroom of life, waiting for justice that never came, until now. The verdict has been rendered. The case is closed. And what was stolen from you, every dollar, every opportunity, every night of peace, is about to be returned with interest. You were robbed, not just of money, but of your peace, your time, your good name, your confidence. They thought they buried you so deep that even God couldn't find you. They celebrated while you bled. They moved on like your loyalty meant nothing, like your sacrifices were disposable. But here's what they didn't know. Heaven was recording it all. Every sleepless night you prayed for justice, every tear that fell in silence, every moment you chose forgiveness when revenge would have felt better. It was all being documented in a courtroom higher than any earthly institution. A courtroom where the judge sees everything, knows everything, and never, I repeat, never lets injustice go unanswered. They thought they got away with it, but heaven never forgets. You didn't imagine the betrayal. You didn't overreact to the theft. You didn't make up the manipulation. You discerned it. Your spirit knew what your eyes couldn't prove. And that discernment, that spiritual awareness just became evidence in your favor. The court of heaven has spoken. The verdict is in. What was taken must be returned. This isn't wishful thinking. This isn't religious fluff. This is spiritual law being enforced in real time. If your spirit is already stirring, if something deep inside you is saying this is for me, type 111 in the comments right now. That's divine alignment. That's your first step into justice. That's your spiritual signature on heaven's decree. Before we go deeper, I want to thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here, your support, your time, your attention. It all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and sow that seed of faith. The gavel has fallen. The silence is broken. Your season of waiting is over. The question isn't whether justice will come. The question is, are you ready to receive what heaven has already ruled belongs to you? How long have you wondered if God even sees the injustice in your life? How many nights have you questioned whether heaven operates by different rules than the courtrooms down here? What if I told you there's a legal system so precise, so absolute, that even the Supreme Court looks like a kangaroo court in comparison? There is a courtroom higher than the Supreme Court, higher than any human institution. And in that courtroom, your case has just been ruled. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. What you're experiencing isn't bad luck. It isn't coincidence. And it certainly isn't God's will for you to suffer while thieves prosper. You've been living under a legal system that most people never even know exists, the divine laws of justice. These aren't suggestions. They're not religious platitudes. They are ironclad spiritual statutes that govern how heaven responds to earthly injustice. And when these laws are violated, heaven doesn't just take note, heaven takes action. Let me show you the evidence. Proverbs 6:31 declares with surgical precision, if the thief be found, he must repay sevenfold. Not might repay, not should repay, must repay. This isn't a recommendation from heaven, it's a legal requirement. 7 times what was stolen. That's not just restitution, that's divine justice with interest compounded. And here's what will shake you to your core. The moment someone took what belonged to you, this law activated automatically. Not when you prayed about it, not when you figured it out. The moment the theft occurred. But here's where it gets even more powerful. Isaiah 61, reveals something that will change how you see your entire journey. Instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion, and instead of disgrace, you will rejoice in your inheritance. And so you will inherit a double portion in your land, and everlasting joy will be yours. Double for your shame, a portion everlasting. This isn't just about getting back what you lost. This is about receiving compensation for the humiliation, the sleepless nights, the damage to your reputation, the years of wondering if you were losing your mind. You weren't losing your mind. You were building a case in the highest court in existence. Every tear became evidence. Every moment of restraint when you could have retaliated became a legal precedent in your favor. Every time you chose forgiveness over vengeance, you were unknowingly filing motions in heaven's courtroom. And Romans 8:28 reveals the master strategy. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. All things, not just the good things, the betrayals, the financial losses, the character assassinations, all of it has been working together to build your case for divine compensation. Here's the revelation that's going to change everything. You weren't cursed, you were evidence, and heaven just ruled in your favor. Think about this for a moment. Every injustice you've endured has been meticulously documented by angels who serve as court reporters in heaven's legal system. Every false accusation against you has been cross-referenced with truth. Every dollar stolen from you has been calculated with heavenly mathematics that includes emotional damages, lost opportunities, and pain and suffering. The thieves thought they were just taking your money, your peace, your reputation. They had no idea they were committing crimes against a citizen of heaven's kingdom. They didn't know they were stealing from someone whose legal representation sits at the right hand of the Father. But now comes the enforcement phase. And this is where human law fails, but divine law never does. In earthly courts, criminals can flee to avoid prosecution. They can hide assets. They can hire expensive lawyers. They can manipulate the system. But in heaven's court, there's no statute of limitations on spiritual theft. There's no appeals process when the Almighty renders judgment. There's no hiding from a God who sees through walls, reads thoughts, and tracks every movement across time and space. The verdict has been rendered. The enforcement order has been signed. And now something supernatural is about to unfold in your life that will make skeptics become believers and enemies become confused witnesses to the power of divine justice. You've been waiting for human vindication, but heaven is about to give you something infinitely more powerful, divine vindication that comes with a financial settlement so comprehensive it covers not just what was stolen, but what you should have earned during the years you spent recovering from the theft. This isn't theology anymore. This is prophecy in motion. The laws of heaven are about to override the systems of earth in your personal situation. And those who thought they escaped accountability are about to discover that you can't outrun the long arm of divine law. The question isn't whether this will happen. The court has ruled. The question is, are you spiritually prepared to receive justice at a level that will stagger not just you, but everyone who knows your story? Because what's coming next will prove once and for all that when heaven moves, earth must respond. They didn't just steal your money. Oh no, chosen one. What they took from you runs deeper than any bank account, cuts sharper than any financial loss. They stole your time, your peace, your sense of safety, your voice. Let me tell you what really happened in those moments when you trusted the wrong people with your heart, your resources, your future. They smiled while they drained you. They laughed at your generosity while they planned your poverty. You were bleeding spiritually, and they called it overreacting. Maybe you were the one who paid everyone else's way and still got left out. Maybe you covered their rent when they couldn't, bought groceries when their cupboards were bare, co-signed loans that became your burden. You showed up at every family gathering with gifts, with solutions, with hope. And what did you get in return? Silence when you needed support, excuses when you asked for help. Maybe you held the family together while they buried you with silence. You were the peacemaker, the problem solver, the one everyone called when crisis hit. But when your crisis came, where were they? When your phone rang with bad news, who answered your call? They stole your sleep. How many nights did you lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how you'd make ends meet because of what they took? How many mornings did you wake up with that sick feeling in your stomach, remembering what they'd done? They slept peacefully while you carried their debt, their drama, their consequences. They stole your dreams, that business you wanted to start, that house you wanted to buy, that retirement you planned for. It all got sacrificed on the altar of their selfishness. They knew what those plans meant to you. They saw the vision in your eyes, and they took it anyway. But here's what cuts the deepest. They stole your trust in your own discernment. They made you question what you knew in your spirit. Remember when something felt wrong, but they convinced you it was just your imagination? Remember when your gut screamed danger, but they called you paranoid? They didn't just rob your wallet. They robbed your confidence in your own God-given intuition. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 20:17, "Bread gained by deceit is sweet to a man, but afterward his mouth will be filled with gravel." They thought what they stole from you tasted sweet, but that sweetness is about to turn bitter in their mouths. They stole your peace of mind. You used to sleep soundly, didn't you? You used to trust easily, love freely, give without counting the cost. But after what they did, every relationship became a question mark. Every friendship came with fine print. Every act of kindness carried the fear of being used again. They stole years from your life. Not just the months or years you spent recovering from their betrayal, but the years you lost being afraid to trust again, afraid to dream again, afraid to hope again. How many opportunities did you pass up because their theft left you too broken to believe in good things anymore? If this is you, if this word is reading your life like an open book, declare in the comments right now, "They didn't break me. They built my case." Because that's exactly what happened. Every tear you cried in private became evidence. Every sleepless night became testimony. Every moment you stayed silent while they prospered became proof of your character. You see, the court of heaven doesn't just look at what was taken. It examines how you responded when it was taken. Did you curse God when you lost everything? Number. Did you abandon your faith when life got unfair? Number. Did you become bitter and vengeful when kindness was repaid with cruelty? Number. You kept your heart soft when it would have been easier to let it turn to stone. They stole your reputation. They whispered lies about your character while benefiting from your generosity. They painted you as the problem while they were the poison. They made you look unstable while they were the ones creating chaos. But Psalm 37:6 promises, "He will make your righteous reward shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday sun." They stole your joy, the simple pleasure of giving without fear, the innocent trust that people meant what they said, the childlike faith that good things happen to good people. They turned your blessing into your burden, your strength into your weakness. But here's what they couldn't steal, and this is crucial. They couldn't steal your anointing. They couldn't take your calling. They couldn't touch your divine assignment. Why? Because those things don't belong to you. They belong to God, and He's simply letting you carry them. Romans 8:28 declares, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." All things, even the theft, even the betrayal, even the nights you cried yourself to sleep wondering if justice would ever come. They thought they were stealing your future. But what they actually did was activate your spiritual legal case. Every dollar they took illegally, every promise they broke, every trust they violated has been documented in the court of heaven, and that court has just issued its verdict. The gavel has fallen, chosen one. But the question remains, are you ready to understand exactly what heaven has ruled in your favor? But something shifted in the silence, didn't it? Something you couldn't see with your natural eyes, but your spirit felt it stirring. While you thought God had abandoned you, Heaven was building a case so airtight that even hell itself couldn't contest it. Every tear you cried in secret, Psalm 56:8 tells us, He collected them in a bottle. Every single drop was catalogued, documented, preserved as evidence. You thought you were breaking down, but you were actually building up the most powerful testimony heaven has ever witnessed. Your silence when they slandered you? That wasn't weakness, chosen one. That was your legal advantage. While they ran their mouths, you held your peace. And in that restraint, heaven saw integrity so pure, it became unshakable proof of your character. Think about it. Every time you could have exposed them but chose to trust God instead. Every moment you could have retaliated but walked away. Every night you could have cursed them but prayed for them instead. You weren't just being spiritual, you were giving heaven ammunition for your defense. The prosecutor in this cosmic courtroom wasn't some earthly lawyer. It was your own conduct under fire, your refusal to become like them, your determination to stay righteous when righteousness cost you everything. And here's what breaks my heart and fills me with holy fire at the same time. While you were questioning if God heard you, Revelation 5-8 reveals that your prayers were being stored in golden bowls before His throne. Not forgotten, not ignored, treasured, preserved, kept as sacred evidence that would one day bring down every enemy who dared to touch what belonged to you. You see, the enemy made a fatal mistake. He thought if he could break you long enough, wear you down far enough, isolate you deep enough, that you'd eventually give up and walk away from your calling. But what he didn't understand is that chosen ones aren't built to quit. We're built to endure until vindication comes. And vindication has come. The gavel fell, and hell can't appeal it. The ruling is final. Do you understand what this means? Every sleepless night you endured has now become a witness against those who caused it. Every dollar they stole has multiplied into a debt they cannot escape. Every lie they told about you has become a boomerang that will return to strike them down. This isn't about revenge, beloved. This is about divine justice. There's a difference. Revenge is emotional and temporary. Justice is legal and eternal. You didn't have to fight for this verdict. You didn't have to hire lawyers or gather witnesses. Your life under pressure became the evidence. Your faithfulness in the fire became the proof. Your refusal to bow when everyone else was bending became the deciding factor in heaven's court. They tried to bury you, but they forgot you were a seed. They tried to silence you, but they forgot God amplifies the voices of the righteous at the appointed time. They tried to steal your future, but they forgot that what God has purposed cannot be reversed by human manipulation. The verdict isn't just about money, though the money is coming. It's about the restoration of everything they tried to strip from you. Your reputation, your peace of mind, your confidence, your joy, your dreams that got deferred but never died. Right now, even as I speak these words, something is shifting in the spiritual realm. The same forces that held back your breakthrough are being commanded to release what they've been withholding. The same demons that whispered lies about your worth are being silenced by heaven's decree. Can you feel it? That stirring in your chest? That sense that something has lifted? That's not emotional manipulation. That's spiritual confirmation. Your spirit recognizes the sound of justice being served. The court has ruled, and here's what the enemy fears most. You're about to start walking like someone who knows they've already won. You're about to start speaking like someone whose case has been settled. You're about to start moving like someone who has heaven's backing. And when the chosen ones start walking in that level of spiritual authority, kingdoms shake, strongholds crumble, generational curses snap like twigs, financial droughts end like someone turned on a faucet. This is your moment to step out of victim mentality and into victor reality. This is your time to stop explaining your pain and start claiming your power. This is your season to go from barely surviving to boldly thriving. Comment, the gavel fell. Say it, type it, own it. Let those 3 words become your declaration that you're no longer waiting for justice, you're walking in it. Because once heaven rules in your favor, the only question left isn't whether your breakthrough will come. The question is, are you ready to handle the magnitude of what's about to be released into your life? But let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. What you've been calling your breakdown was actually your breakthrough being born. What you thought was your ending was heaven's beginning. What they called your loss, heaven called your leverage. Look at Joseph, sold by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, falsely accused, forgotten in prison for years. But God wasn't punishing Joseph, he was positioning him. Because when Pharaoh needed someone who understood suffering, someone who could manage abundance after experiencing lack, someone who had been tested by betrayal and emerged with integrity intact, there was only one man qualified. Joseph didn't just get his freedom back, he got authority over the very nation that had imprisoned him. What you thought broke you actually broke the curse. Consider Job. Lost his children, lost his wealth, lost his health. His own wife told him to curse God and die. But here's what the enemy didn't calculate. Job's faithfulness in the fire became his qualification for double restoration. The Bible says God gave Job twice as much as he had before. Not just replacement, multiplication. What was taken wasn't just returned, it was magnified. What they meant for evil, God meant for elevation. Think about Nelson Mandela, 27 years behind bars. 27 years of his life stolen by injustice. But those prison walls weren't containing him, they were refining him. Because when South Africa needed a leader who understood oppression, who could unite a divided nation, who carried moral authority that couldn't be questioned, there was only one man prepared. The prisoner became the president. You weren't buried, chosen one. You were planted. And right now, even as you sit in your living room, even as you wonder if this word is real, the floor is shifting beneath your name. The spiritual tectonic plates are moving. The underground streams of justice are breaking through concrete. What was dormant is awakening. What was delayed is accelerating. There's a check in the spirit realm with your name on it, and it's about to be cashed out loud. But here's what's happening that you can't see yet. The same people who counted you out are about to count you in. The same systems that rejected you are about to recruit you. The same doors that slammed shut are about to swing wide open with red carpet treatment. Because when heaven rules in your favor, the earth has no choice but to comply. What you survived, others couldn't handle. What you endured, others would have quit. What you forgave, others would have revenged. And that difference, that character, that spiritual muscle, that tested faith, that's your currency in this next season. You're not just getting your money back. You're getting access to rooms your money alone could never open. You're getting influence your education alone could never provide. You're getting favor your background alone could never secure. The courtroom of heaven doesn't just restore finances, it restores dignity, it restores time, it restores reputation, it restores the years the locusts ate. Right now, there are conversations happening about you that you're not even aware of. Divine appointments being scheduled, supernatural connections being orchestrated, providential encounters being arranged. The same God who parted the Red Sea is parting obstacles in your path. The same God who made the sun stand still is accelerating your timeline. What should take you 10 years will happen in 10 months. What should take 10 months will happen in 10 weeks. What should take 10 weeks will happen in 10 days. Because when God moves in restoration mode, He doesn't just restore, He accelerates. You feel it, don't you? That stirring in your spirit, that knowing in your bones, that sense that something has fundamentally shifted in the atmosphere around your life. That's not your imagination. That's confirmation. Heaven has moved from deliberation to action, from consideration to execution. The verdict isn't pending anymore. It's been stamped, sealed, delivered. But here's what separates those who receive from those who remain waiting: response time. When heaven speaks, how quickly do you align? When God moves, how fast do you follow? When divine opportunity knocks, how swiftly do you open the door? Because this window won't stay open forever. This season has an expiration date. This moment has a timestamp. And those who hesitate, who second guess, who need more proof, they risk missing what's been prepared specifically for their breakthrough. The question isn't whether restoration is coming. The question is whether you're positioned to receive it when it arrives, whether your hands are open or closed, whether your heart is ready or resistant, whether your spirit is aligned or still fighting yesterday's battles. What if the delay you've experienced wasn't God ignoring you, but God preparing you? What if every closed door was protecting you from settling for less than His best? What if every betrayal was positioning you for a loyalty that can't be bought? What if every loss was making room for a gain that can't be calculated? The gavel didn't just fall to end your suffering, it fell to begin your reigning. Something shifted in the spiritual realm the moment that gavel fell. Can you feel it? That electricity in the air around your life. That's not your imagination. That's divine enforcement beginning to move. Let me tell you what's happening right now in the unseen realm. Angels aren't in defense mode anymore, they're in enforcement mode. For too long, you felt like you were fighting alone, carrying burdens that weren't yours, defending truth that others rejected. But heaven didn't just rule in your favor, it sent reinforcements. Think about what happened when Pharaoh refused to let God's people go. Moses didn't have to argue his case 10 times. God sent enforcement, plague after plague, each one more severe than the last. Because when heaven issues a decree, resistance becomes futile. Exodus 7:5 says, "And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord when I stretch out my hand on Egypt and bring out the children of Israel from among them." The same God who enforced justice in Egypt is enforcing justice in your situation right now. You see, every dollar stolen from you isn't just theft, it's a spiritual subpoena. Heaven is collecting, with interest. And those who thought they could manipulate God's chosen ones are about to learn what divine enforcement actually looks like. This isn't revenge. This is order being restored. This is cosmic justice correcting what man allowed to remain crooked. The difference is crucial. Revenge comes from emotion. Enforcement comes from law. Divine law. Look at your life right now. Really look. Haven't you noticed the subtle shifts? The sudden changes in people's behavior around you? The unexpected doors beginning to crack open? The strange peace settling in your spirit despite circumstances that should terrify you? That's enforcement beginning to manifest. But here's what most people don't understand about spiritual enforcement. It's not always loud. Sometimes the most powerful moves of God happen in absolute silence. Sometimes justice comes on silent feet, rearranging systems while the guilty sleep. Remember Haman in the book of Esther? He built gallows 75 feet high, planning to hang Mordecai. He went to bed that night thinking he'd won. But that same night, King Ahasuerus couldn't sleep, divine insomnia. And in his restlessness, he ordered the chronicles to be read. That's when he discovered Mordecai had saved his life and was never rewarded. By morning, Haman was hanging on his own gallows. That's how divine enforcement works. Silent, strategic, sudden. The enemies who celebrated your downfall, they're about to have their own sleepless nights. The systems they used to block your blessings, those same systems are about to turn against them. Because when heaven enforces, it uses the very weapons formed against you as instruments of your vindication. If you believe this word is active over your life right now, right, it's being enforced. Don't scroll. Don't hesitate. Agree with what heaven has already decreed. But let me tell you something that will shake you to your core. The enforcement isn't just about getting back what was stolen. It's about exposing the theft that you didn't even know happened. There are blessings that were blocked before they reached you. Opportunities that were sabotaged in boardrooms you never entered. Favor that was intercepted by jealous hearts and manipulative spirits. Heaven has been keeping records, detailed records, and now the audit has begun. Do you remember the story of Job? When everything was restored to him, the Bible says he received double for all his trouble, not just what he lost double. Job 42:10. And the Lord restored Job's losses when he prayed for his friends. Indeed, the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Twice as much. That's not just restoration, that's divine mathematics. That's heaven's interest rate on injustice. Right now, as I speak these words, there are spiritual auditors going through the books of your life. Every tear is being counted. Every sleepless night is being calculated. Every act of sabotage is being documented. And the bill is coming due. You want to know why your enemies have been acting strange lately? Why they seem nervous around you even though you haven't said a word? Because guilty consciences are the first to feel the tremors of divine enforcement. They can sense what's coming even if they can't articulate it. Isaiah 54:17 declares, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn." This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. That word condemn doesn't mean you get to be vindictive. It means you get to render their accusations null and void by living in the truth of who God says you are. Your success becomes their condemnation. Your peace becomes their torment. Your restoration becomes undeniable proof that heaven still moves on behalf of the faithful. But here's the part that will change everything for you. Divine enforcement doesn't wait for your permission. It doesn't need your help. It doesn't require your strategy. It only needs your alignment. The question isn't whether enforcement is coming. The question is, are you positioned to receive what's being released? Because when heaven moves, it moves fast. And if you're not spiritually prepared, you might miss the very breakthrough you've been praying for. This is the hour when everything accelerates. When years of delay get compressed into moments of manifestation, when divine timing collides with earthly systems and creates explosions of favor that defy every natural explanation. Are you ready for the acceleration that's about to hit your life? Because ready or not, the reinforcements have arrived and enforcement has begun. But heaven doesn't just restore what was stolen. Heaven multiplies it. And what I'm about to reveal will leave you breathless with anticipation for what's coming your way. You see, there's a law written into the very fabric of divine justice that most people never understand. Proverbs 6:31 declares it plainly, "When the thief is caught, he must repay sevenfold." Not single, not double, sevenfold. Do you understand what that means? For every dollar they stole from you, 7 are coming back. For every opportunity they blocked, 7 doors are about to swing wide open. For every sleepless night they caused you, 7 seasons of supernatural rest are being prepared. This isn't just restoration, chosen one. This is divine multiplication. You've been crying in the valley, but Joel 2:25 promises something that will shake you to your core. "I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten." The years. Not just the money, not just the opportunities, the years. Every birthday you spent broken, every Christmas you celebrated in lack, every New Year's Eve you welcomed with tears instead of champagne. Heaven has been calculating. Heaven has been compounding interest on your pain. Let me paint you a picture of what's coming, and I want you to feel this in your spirit. Sevenfold joy for every night you cried yourself to sleep, wondering if anyone cared. 7 waves of laughter are heading your way. Joy so deep, so rich, so overwhelming that you'll forget what sadness felt like. 7-fold strength for every moment you broke down alone in your kitchen, your bedroom, your car. 7 surges of supernatural power are being downloaded into your spirit. Strength that doesn't come from caffeine or willpower, but from the throne room of God. 7-fold favor for every door they slammed shut in your face. 7 VIP entrances are being carved out with your name on them. Favor so thick, so undeniable, that even your enemies will have to acknowledge what God is doing in your life. But wait, there's more. 7-fold peace for every anxiety attack that stole your breath. peace that doesn't make sense given your circumstances, peace that guards your mind like a fortress. Sevenfold clarity for every season of confusion they put you through. Mental fog lifting like morning mist. Divine downloads of wisdom that make you see 10 steps ahead. Sevenfold abundance for every time you had to choose between paying rent or buying groceries. Overflow so abundant that you'll become the answer to someone else's prayer. And here's what will leave you speechless. Sevenfold honor for every moment they tried to humiliate you. Your name is about to be lifted so high that those who mocked you will be asking for your blessing. You won't just be paid back, you'll be upgraded. This is the mystery that escapes most believers. They think restoration means going back to where you were. But divine restoration means being catapulted beyond where you ever imagined you could go. The woman who lost her house isn't just getting another house, she's getting the house of her dreams, debt-free. The man who was betrayed by his business partner isn't just getting his investment back, he's getting an empire that makes the original look like pocket change. This isn't karma, this isn't luck, this isn't even good fortune. This is divine order. And heaven just ruled in your name. But here's what's going to happen in the coming days. And I need you to pay close attention because this is where most people miss their breakthrough. The enemy is going to whisper that it's too good to be true. He's going to remind you of your failures, your age, your limitations. He's going to say, who are you to expect sevenfold return? Look at your credit score, look at your bank account, look at your mistakes. But I'm telling you right now, shut that voice down immediately. Because that's not God's voice. God's voice sounds like thunder when he declares your vindication. God's voice sounds like rushing waters when he announces your restoration. God's voice sounds like the roar of a lion when he proclaims your victory. And right now, if you're quiet enough, if you tune out the noise of doubt and discouragement, you can hear it, that rumbling in the heavens, that shifting in the atmosphere. That's the sound of sevenfold return being loaded into your spiritual account. The question that will determine your next decade is this: will you position yourself to receive what heaven has already released? Or will you talk yourself out of the very blessing that's been assigned to your name? Because in the next section, I'm going to show you exactly how this divine transfer happens and the 3 things you must do to ensure you don't miss what's already on its way to you. As we come to the close of this divine encounter, I need you to remember 3 eternal truths that will anchor your soul in the days ahead. First, the court of heaven has ruled, and that ruling is irrevocable. What was stolen from you, your peace, your resources, your years of struggle is being restored with divine interest. This isn't a hope, this is a heavenly decree. Second, your suffering was never meaningless. Every tear you shed in secret became evidence in your favor. Every moment you chose forgiveness over revenge, love over bitterness, faith over fear, it all counted. Heaven was recording it all, building your case, preparing your vindication. Third, you are not walking into this restoration alone. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who shut the mouths of lions, who raised the dead, that same God is orchestrating your comeback. And when God moves on your behalf, no force in hell or earth can stop what he has set in motion. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not abandoned. Right now, at this very moment, the Creator of the universe is working in your situation. He sees every struggle you're facing. He knows every need you carry. And he is moving heaven and earth to answer what you've been believing for. But you're also not alone in this community. Look around, you're surrounded by thousands of chosen ones who understand your journey, who've walked similar paths, who are believing with you for breakthrough. This isn't just a YouTube channel, this is a family of faith, a tribe of overcomers, a community of people who refuse to give up on God's promises. Let me ask you something that will determine how you walk forward from this moment. Will you live the next chapter of your life like someone whose case has been won? Or will you continue to live like the verdict is still pending? Because, beloved, the gavel has fallen. The decision is final. Your restoration is not coming, it has already begun. Before you leave this sacred moment, I want to pray over you with the authority that comes from knowing God's heart for His chosen ones. Father God, I stretch my hands toward every person hearing these words right now. Lord, you see them. You know their pain. You've counted every tear they've cried in the darkness. You've heard every desperate prayer whispered when they thought no one was listening. Right now, I ask you to settle something deep in their spirit. Let them feel your presence like a warm embrace. Let them know with unshakable certainty that their case has been heard, their verdict has been rendered, and their vindication is sealed in heaven. Release supernatural peace over their minds tonight. Drive out every spirit of anxiety, every whisper of doubt, every lie that says they're forgotten. Replace fear with faith, confusion with clarity, desperation with divine expectation. Open doors that no man can shut. Close doors that no longer serve their destiny. Surround them with favor like a shield. Let their enemies become their footstools. Let their setbacks become their setups. Let their pain become their platform. And Lord, as they sleep tonight, minister to them in their dreams. Remind them who they are. Show them glimpses of what you're preparing. Let them wake up tomorrow with renewed strength, unshakable hope, and holy boldness. We thank you that what the enemy meant for harm, you are turning for good. We thank you that what looked like their end was actually their beginning. We thank you that their greatest trial is becoming their greatest testimony. Seal this word in their hearts. Let it be a lamp unto their feet and a light unto their path. And let everyone who sees their life in the coming days know that you are a God who still restores, who still heals, who still makes beauty from ashes. In the mighty name of Jesus, the one who conquered death itself, we declare it done. Amen. If this word has touched something deep in your spirit, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me what God is showing you. Share your testimony. Ask for prayer. This community is here for you, and we believe with you for everything God has promised. And if this message has brought hope to your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to know that their case has been heard in heaven. There are people in your circle who are sitting in their own courtroom of confusion, wondering if justice will ever come. Be the messenger who tells them the gavel has fallen and victory is assured. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Your faithfulness to listen speaks to the hunger in your heart for truth, for breakthrough, for divine intervention. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join this family of faith. There are more words coming that your spirit needs to hear. Until we meet again, walk in the authority of someone whose case has been won. Live like the chosen one you are. And never forget, in the courtroom of heaven, your victory is final, your restoration is guaranteed, and your future is secured in His hands. The court has ruled. Justice is yours. Walk in it.